Hello everyone and welcome to Drivenmad.
Good, we are, tough job for us.
Tough job for us. This is quite exciting though, because hopefully I've got some close-ups to show you of our old ball joints on this L200, because they're absolutely knackered.
Yes.
In fact, we've got an example there to show you. We will
Should I?
Go on, why not? Go and show what they all look like.
So that is
The tie rod end.
what is on, and that's what's going on.
So as you can see there, they are in terrible condition. Upper ball joints are identical, lower ball joints are identical, and the tie rod ends are also all completely knackered.
Yes.
They're all crispy, cracked, and all of the grease inside them is gone.
I'll wander around making noise, should I?
You can wander around making your noise. We're going to be changing the upper, lower, and tie rod ends, and we're going to be replacing the shocks, because
These are allegedly new.
these are allegedly new, but as you can see,
Even a
as Dad always says, he's not the strongest bloke, but he's making that look easy, aren't you?
corpse-like.
Corpse-like. Now, we've got a nice new set of shocks to go on. We've got these.
But these are allegedly new, and they don't seem to have any leaks on them. But well, they are new because we've got a receipt.
Yeah.
Not that we paid for it. But these came from Autodoc.
Yeah.
And they do say that they fit. This is a 170 horsepower automatic L200 of the 2010 variety.
It is.
Called Bosco.
Yeah, called Bosco. And Dad's decided to go with a sexy set of shocks, I think. We weren't sure.
They were still cheap.
We didn't know they were white at the time, so I'm struggling to get this box open.
No, we thought they were a sexy purple.
So these are supposedly a little bit more manly.
Yep.
We get that out. See there, we've got this nice new shock.
So these are nitrogen filled, aren't they?
Nitrogen filled.
They still weren't super expensive.
And they're a lot thicker than the other shocks, so we're hoping this could solve our porpoising issue, because when we drive along, it's like
Nice style.
It's like a boat, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You sort of flop
It is.
up and down. So we're hoping that will fix that issue, and it's nice to get a new set on, and all these new joints will hopefully transform
These
the
are
drive.
Japanese-made 555 joints, which we're led to believe are as good as money can buy. And again, they weren't super expensive.
No.
But they do look a lot nicer compared to the ones that are currently fitted, which we assume are factory.
Yes. So running through sizes, we have done the other side before to get a bit of practice. We'll say that now.
Yep. And as you can see, it put up a little bit of a fight. Or I think it could have been our poor technique, which we feel we've improved on, but as we say, we are not mechanics.
No. So running through the sizes, a generic set of sockets will be needed. They were mainly from 14 to 24 in size. Obviously a set of spanners, and we're going to use an impact gun where we can. It's not a necessity. And other than that, and a hammer. We might need a hammer.
Oh, you need a hammer.
So we're going to crack
And potentially a angle grinder.
Yes. So we'll crack on, get this all installed, and we'll
Take you along for the ride.
Right, now to walk you through the bushings, this is the upper ball joint, you can see. That is completely cracked and there's nothing in it. That is absolutely knackered. Dad, you can give a little demonstration. The crack in the middle there, completely open, nothing in there. Tie rod end is identical story, and the big lower joint is also identical down there. You can't see, but all the oil and grease has come out. So the shock also
They're not wet. That's me putting getting overexcited with the penetrating fluid.
Right, we're going to begin by undoing the brackets that hold the lines on. So they're size 12mm. We've got one there, and we also have one here. You can see just up there. So we'll get those two off. Right, now before we take everything else off, we've got the tie rod end to undo, and this is one of the hardest ones, obviously, as it's really tight, and if we disconnect everything else, then this is just going to keep spinning. So we're going to undo this locking nut on here. A little turn.
Not so bad.
Not so bad.
The other one was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we'll get that loose. I'm going to keep it roughly touching, so then we can take this off and count the turns later on.
Okay.
Right, now this upper ball joint, we've got the carter pin to take off. So I hope I can do this by hand. Pinch that, push it through.
I'd never heard of carter pin.
You'd never heard of carter pin?
I always called it split pin, but yeah, I've never heard of carter pin.
Oh. There we go, he's out. So this is a 22mm. Mallet to just tap that gently.
You could have got all big guns on it.
I could have, but we didn't want you snapping it off now, do we? Right, now with this upper ball joint, I've left the nut on ever so slightly, you can see, with a bit of a gap, because you sort of need to pop these off. So we've got a special tool here, I'll hold that in front of the camera, this fork that goes in between the bushing here, like that, and you basically hit it in and it pops the joint open. So Dad's going to try not to hit his hand too much.
Hey, oh.
He's done it. So now we can continue by just undoing this. Yeah. There we go.
Boom.
Let's get them off. We've got 3 size 12s for the upper ball joint on the top, so we'll get those off. This is quite a satisfying job for Dad especially, because these are little bits that he loves looking at and getting done. This will satisfy you, won't it?
Well, they're knackered, aren't they?
They are knackered.
And it's a job that you would pay a real man a lot of money to do.
Yeah. Right, so I'm just going to lower that a little bit so there's a bit of space to get this out. Right, there we are. So if I hold that in front of the cam, you can see. Look,
there's a technical term for that, and it's fooked.
Yeah, we've got a joint sandwich in there. Look. Right, so we're going to reinstall this, and we're going to put it in with some. We're going to go with. Right, let's get these done up, nice and tight, because these we don't want to come out. Get that on, very nice. Right, now that's in, we're going to work on getting the top 3 mounts for the suspension undone, which are a 14mm, so we'll get them off. I'm going to undo these so they're loose, and then as we continue undoing things, obviously this won't fall out. So that's undone. Now what we'll work on doing is taking off this top bracket so we've got a bit more space to play. Okay, now with these top bolts just slightly loosened off, to get access to actually remove the shock, we have to remove this upper bar completely. So what we're going to do is undo this. It's a 20 on the inside and a 19 on the outside. Dad's going to use an impact gun just to make life a bit easier. Now they're ready to come out. We'll get this one out. There's one. There we go, there's number 2. Okay, so with this undone, in a minute we'll be able to remove that to then allow the shock to come out. Right, now I'm going to undo the bottom bolt of the shock, which is here. So it's a 19 on the nut here and a 22 on the other side. So I'll get my socket in there. There we are. Okay, now we'll get the carter pin out the tie rod end. We'll just get everything sort of loose and ready to come out. There we go, carter pin out. There we go, just keep him loose. Hey, at the top.
That's my job, dropping them.
Okay, so 2 of them have come off. Got it.
Oh, nice one. That was
Swiftly done.
That was unusual for us.
Right, so with that out of the way, now what we'll do is we'll remove this since we've undone it. Watch this. yours out.
Sorry?
Take yours out. Just because I didn't want it stuck. There we go. On this arm, you can see there's a couple of lines. We've got one here. You can unclip them. There's a little clip, but ours have been in there so long they really don't want to come out. So I'm going to get Dad to either hold this and take the. Do you want to hold that there, and I'll take the shock, or do you want to take the shock and I'll hold this?
Well, if you've got it.
Yep. Okay, so the shock is wedged in to that hole. It's slightly twisted in there actually. So
ready?
If you could give that a. That's it.
Okay.
Yep. One more. There we go. Right. And then this is now.
That's on the cable as well.
There we go. That's it. And
bingo.
There we go. Bingo.
Are you saying I caused that problem?
Maybe. But doesn't matter, does it?
It's out.
It's out. That's all that matters. Right, so we're just going to spin this off. 24 mil.
I like your confidence. Nice.
Right, I'll leave that like that and we'll break it with our breaker.
You bastard!
Hey! Give me some skin. Well done. Well, that took a bit of effort. Bloody hell. Didn't it just?
Oh, bloody hell.
He got it. He got it. He deserves a brew after that, I think.
Bloody hell, I'm sweating.
Yeah. I'll make you coffee later. But I think next port of call is undoing these three to get this joint well and truly done.
I might need to lie down now.
Okay, so underneath we got 3 nuts and 3 bolts, 17 mil. I'll see if I can get them out without. There's one. Right, so our main issue here is actually getting these bolts out because the CV gets in the way. So what we're going to do is try and twist that.
Do you want to do the twisting and I do the pulling?
Yeah, go on then. Let's see. There we go, there's 1.
2 even.
Yeah, and then the other side is the side that
is a bastard.
is going to be giving us the grief. There we go, so we'll fold that to the side.
No.
No, what if I did lifting? Anything like that?
Yep, hold on, I'm out.
Oh, didn't have to remove the CV for this one.
No, they're not in the best of health though.
So those 3 nuts are out.
So I'm going to clean those.
Okay, we'll do the cleaning now whilst we're set up here.
And then we'll waz the thing back in, but they are very rusty.
Right, and if I pull that,
Hold on. We need to go a bit further. That's it.
that's it. Okay, joint is out. Now,
Joint is going back in.
Now, unfortunately, what the camera didn't get here was the joint was slid back in, slid into the bottom arm, and then we secured it with the 3 bolts, and then I put the main joint back on. Chance of lining it up. Oh no, hang on. There we go.
Oh, we're in.
We're in.
He's on. Right, so whether this is a good point or not point, so don't take it from us, but this was all very rusty, and I saw someone put anti-seize on and then obviously obviously this nut's not going on here, but the when you put the nut on with some thread lock, then this doesn't rust. So I've gone for it. Whether it's a good idea or not, who knows.
Okay, so we're going to do these up, put a bit of thread locker on them.
We've gone the whole hog.
Make sure they're nice and tight. Nice. And the next job, like we said, is to put the spring onto our new shock. Now we've invested, well, Dad invested in this very nice spring compressor.
A whole €150.
Yes. Now a kit online, you can buy the kits that you put on with an impact drill, but we took that to our friendly mechanic when we did the Mercedes ML, and he put it on, it bananaed like that and exploded everywhere. And
there were a few injuries, and we just escaped the injuries, didn't we? So we're paranoid about these, and I think that is, you can always buy one of these, can't buy yourself another eye.
No, that's very true. So this we're going to be using, but if you don't have any of the kit, you can take it down to a local mechanic.
Yeah, I
to swap it over.
I would not buy those little ratchet ones that you put on. I think it's a recipe for disaster.
I think so, because this one we can secure in here, and then we can wrap the chain around it. So if anything does go wrong, the chain will catch it.
And the other point is that they do need to be lined up quite accurately to make them go on the car nicely.
So if I show you here, you see on top we've got this plate, and we've got this bracket at the back. So what happens is the flat face of this needs to be lined up dead with this front one here. So they have to be dead in line with each other down there. And we didn't have it quite in line on the other side.
And we were only fractionally out.
Literally 5 mil, wasn't it? If that. And yeah, we couldn't get it in. So we've
drawn a target now.
Put it back on here and line it all up. So what we'll do is we'll take this, compress the spring, take this shock out, put the new shock in, and hopefully we should be laughing.
Yep, and I think it's worth taking your time in lining it up. Or it is. Take a bit of time here over fannying around on the truck.
Right. Nicely done. So what we're going to do is get the old shock out. There we are. It's all rusty and grim.
We'll check that one in a minute.
Yep, we'll get the new one in. Check about the length there, the same. And then we've just got to get this dust boot back over, which I'm don't really like to put my fingers near that spring, but there we go, get that in. And if we get the nut on a bit, then we're safe. And just make sure that the spring is locked into there, which it has. Nut's back on. And now we can worry about getting the alignment correct. Right, new thread locked nut is on the top. It's tightened all the way down. You know you're tight when the nut hits the end of the threads. There's no more threads and it gets tight.
Put you in the visibility line. That we've got with our marker and level with that.
Level. So
and one bolt on our car, of course, one bolt to the opposing side to that bracket.
Yep, and that's it. We're done. So that's tight.
Standing back.
Standing back. Gently touch it. Get the pressure off. There we go. Nice. Now we can take the chain off and get that out. Right, I'm going to start by putting this in. Now it's just this one line here has to go around the shock. Wiggle in that. Wiggle in that. Move that back down. What we'll do is just finger tight the 3 little nuts on the top. So now on the bottom bolt, you need to go through that way because you can't leave anything hanging out because it will hit the CV when it's flexing. So we're going to go through that way. Dad can come round. I'm going to support this because we'll have to probably pull down on it. I think there's a bit of weight on there. Indeed there is. Right, so if I move that out of the way, so whilst this hangs down, you can see as I pull on it, it lowers the lower arm. So Dad's going to have to try and put this into place whilst I hang on this.
Oh, that's all right. Ready?
Yep. This isn't anywhere near, Badge. This side isn't anywhere near. Ready?
Yep.
Go. There you go.
Nice.
Right, next we will install the bolts to that upper arm again and get that back on. Wahee, straight in. Nicely, nice.
You know what you got to do, mate?
You got to work smarter, not harder.
So, technique
Beautiful.
for that.
Right, technique to get that bolt in was just slightly jack it up because the spring was right in the way of putting that bolt in. It was making it go at a funny angle.
So you get it halfway in, then it hits the spring, then lift the spring out the way because the spring needs to be out 2 different places.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
On the other side, we've got plenty of space.
Right, are we
We're thread.
doing those, are we?
Yeah, we're thread locking those, and they're getting done.
Thread in his made locker.
Yeah. Ooh.
What an... Oh, good hugger.
Yeah, it's good. Should be good. So the 2 upper bolts are in, and now we've got to, we'll put the tie rod end in, and then we'll get this upper ball joint in and done as well, and then tighten them all up, and we're laughing. Tie rod end I'm just going to get done up, and then you can see there's a little hole in it, so you've got to line up a hole, and then you can put the carter pin through. So we'll do that at the end. Now it's time for the upper ball joint, which on the other side we couldn't, our jack here is 500 kilos and it wouldn't go all the way up to get this in. You can see it's missing, it's not quite there, and we need to jack the bottom up. So we had to put it on the floor and use a trolley jack, so lower the car down and use a trolley jack because that was rated for 3 tons, so that could push this up and then we could get the bolt on. But I think this might do it, let's see. Just being careful obviously not to put too much pressure on it because you don't want to oh, we're well in.
Are we? Cool.
Yeah. Here we are. So that upper ball joint.
Oh, hey, well
held.
Well held.
So just putting some Loctite on the top nuts for the strut. Get these top, they're size 14. Get them done up. 1. 2. And 3. Nice. And now we'll get that 22mm upper ball joint done as well. There's not much space, but and Dad's just putting in all the brackets back. Snug that one up like that. Okay, now the bottom of the shock is a 22mm on that side and 19 on this side. There we go, nice and tight on there. Yeah, proper ugger-dugger on there. And now it's time to go and just check round and put all the carter pins in the tie rod end, upper joint and the lower joint down there. So we'll do that now. There we are. All the carter pins are in, all the nuts and bolts are done up. That's it, we can release the pressure. So what I'll do is just slowly let that off.
Oh, you.
Everything's all good, there we are. Brilliant. And that should be it. Right, so that's everything done. Seems all right.
Badge on.
Yep, new badge, you can see chrome there. That was a little job that Dad was desperate to do because the other one had bubbled up for some reason. Bad paint job or...
Who knows what someone had done.
Who knows.
But, anyway, I did that while we were waiting for the, because we've put some oil back into it because we changed that while we were doing it. But hopefully you found that interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, it's different. Well, yeah, but we haven't done much like this before.
Not really.
We've done the suspension on my L200, but it didn't have the coil springs. And since we've bought this machine, that was quite a good learn, as we'd say.
Highly recommend that. So that's worth every penny.
Great machine, that made it much easier for us.
I mean, might call us spoiled, but I think
Well, one of those impact wrenchy ones is still going to be 50, 60 quid, and I'd spend the 150 and get that, and keep my hands facing ankles.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to ruin their money maker.
No, of course not.
So there we are. If you've got any questions, I'd ask someone who knows what they're doing, but we're quite happy to answer it.
We are, yes.
Thank you for watching once more.
Thank you very much.